Before we start today's episode, I've got something exciting to tell you. I've been working on a brand new project called French Stories Made Easy, which is coming very soon. You'll get short, easy to follow French stories for beginners with audio and English translations. It opens on Monday, 24th of August. So if you want to join the waitlist, you find the link in the episode description. All right, let's get into today's episode. Bonjour à tous, hello everyone, and welcome back to the French Made Easy podcast. Today we are talking about how to get more French into your day without necessarily spending more time studying. Because when you think about improving your French, you probably think that you need to do more. Learning more vocab, doing more grammar, more pronunciation practice, or finding another 30 minutes in your day to sit down and study. And of course, all of those things help, but improving your French doesn't always have to mean studying more. Sometimes you simply need a little bit more French in your day, more opportunities to spend a little bit more time with the language, being a little bit more immersed in French. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that you should stop studying French altogether and rely just on immersion. Structured learning is so important, especially as a beginner. Grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation give you the building blocks of the language, but you also need some opportunities to come across those building blocks in context, right? For example, let's say that you are learning a new expression in French in a lesson. Now you hear that expression in a podcast. You see it written in a story, you hear it in a dialogue, and little by little, that new expression that you've learned starts to feel more familiar. It becomes easier to use. So that's where regular exposure to French or immersion can really help. So today I'm going to give you a few simple ways to get more French into your everyday life without adding another big study session. All right, so number one, listen to more French. You can listen to French while you're cooking, while you are walking, while you're driving, while you're getting ready in the morning, or while you're doing things around the house. That could be a French podcast, mine, hopefully, a short dialogue, a short story, or even some French music. Now, of course, listening in the background isn't the same as focused listening practice, but it does give you more regular contact with the sound and the rhythm of French and with words or expressions that you may already know. And sometimes you'll suddenly hear a word or an expression and think, oh, I know that, I've learned that already. And those little moments where you recognize words and expression, they really matter. All right. Number two is read something short. And I really mean short. You do not need to start with a whole novel in French, especially as a beginner. That can get quite frustrating very quickly if you feel like you have to stop every 5 seconds and look up every second word. When I was learning English, I used to read books in English on my Kindle, and sometimes it was just too much. I was reading novels, and every second sentence I had to highlight a word to get the definition in English. What I recommend instead is choose something that you can read sort of in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. That would be good. A short story, a dialogue, or an article online, a recipe, a few paragraphs about something that interests you. The goal is to read French in context, and you will recognize vocabulary and grammar structures that you've studied before, and you're seeing how everything that you've learned before works together. And again, you don't need to understand every word. I'd much rather you read something short and manageable that you can actually finish than something difficult and that you just want to give up after 2 pages. So think something short, something understandable and enjoyable for you. Number 3, listen and read at the same time. And if listening on its own still feels difficult at your level, that's fine. Try listening while you follow the text. And actually, that's even better, to be honest. This can be really useful for beginners because spoken French can sound very different from the French that you see written down, right? Words linked together, some sounds, as you know, disappear. And sometimes even if you actually know the vocabulary, you just don't recognize it quickly enough when you hear it. So having the text in front of you helps you connect what you're hearing with what you already know. And you can do this with a podcast transcript, the lyrics of the music you're listening, the dialogue transcript, French story with audio, many, many other things. You don't need to analyze every single sentence. You can just follow along and notice what you can. Number 4 is go back to things that you've already heard or read. You don't always need a brand new French piece of content every day. Going back to something that you've already listened to or that you've already read can be really helpful. The first time, maybe you sort of understand the general idea. The second time, you notice a few more words. And after hearing something a few times, certain words, certain phrases start to feel a little bit more familiar. So if you've enjoyed, a podcast episode, music, listen to it again. Reread the same short text after, a few weeks or a few days later, and it will at some point all start feeling a little bit easier. Number 5 is make French part of something that you already do. Rather than trying to create a completely new French routine, which can be a little bit overwhelming, make it something that you already do regularly. Maybe add French to your morning coffee. Maybe add French to your morning commute. Maybe read something short, during your lunch break. The exact routine doesn't really matter. What matters is some consistency and making French something that's easier to come back to regularly without having to think, right, now I need to find more time to study. Number 6, choose French that you can actually follow. So you need to find something that is at your level. Now, you don't need to understand every single word, but if you understand almost nothing, it can quickly become frustrating, and it will just turn into background noise, which we don't want. Especially as a beginner, a little support goes a long way and can make a big difference. And one more thing, don't try to turn every bit of French into homework, right? Sometimes we don't want to do homework. Homework has, as you know, and I'm big on homework, it has its place and time. And, I love giving homework to my students, but not everything that you do with your French has to be homework. Sometimes it can just be some fun. It can just be something that you just listen, that you read, that you enjoy without having to analyze every single sentence, right? Not every minute of your French time needs to feel like you're studying. So if you take away one thing from today's episode, it is that French doesn't always have to be something that you study, right? It can just be relaxed, fun, enjoyable, right? And that idea of having something that you can just enjoy, you can just listen to, read without, homework, without feeling like you're studying is what inspired me to create something new. And it is called French Stories Made Easy. It is a new membership with short, easy to follow French stories for beginners, so for your level, with audio, with English translation. So you can just listen, read along, and simply enjoy a little bit more French and add a little bit more French into your day without feeling like you are studying. Now, French Stories Made Easy open on the 24th of August. So if that feels like something you would enjoy, you can join the waitlist. I've got the waitlist link in the episode description so you don't miss out when it opens. And that is it for today. I hope that this episode gave you a few ideas for bringing a little bit more French into your life. Thank you so much for listening, and I will chat with you next week. À bientôt. Bye. before you go, let me ask you something. Do you feel like you kind of know French, but when it comes to actually speaking, you freeze? If that's you, I made something just for you. It's called the French Fluency Gap Guide, and inside you'll discover the 5 fluency pillars every French learner needs. You see exactly where you're on track, where you're stuck, and what to focus on next. It's completely free and you can get it right now. You'll find the link waiting for you in the show notes.